This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Manitoba is dealing with a rising number of measles cases, which have recently doubled. Now the province warns some are linked to community spread. For the first time, the province is saying some of the recent measles cases don't have any known contact. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel has the latest.
10 new cases of measles have been confirmed in Manitoba. That brings the number to 20, with 4 more probable cases. The province says 1 case is linked to the Dugald area just east of Winnipeg. All the others are in the Southern Health region. That's where Adina Ham lives with her young family.
I'm concerned because there are quite a bit of people around this area that don't vaccinate their kids. And my kids are vaccinated, but I think there's still a risk for my kids, which is a little scary.
The province now warns some of the new cases are linked to community spread.
This overall raises the level of concern for where
Dr. Devinder Singh with Manitoba's immunization program says until recently they'd been able to trace all new cases to known infections or exposure sites, but now that's changed.
That means that there was community spread to be the cause of that person's infection and raises the level of risk, because obviously it means that there would be either people who had measles that we're unaware of or exposure areas that we were unaware of.
In 2023, Southern Health had the lowest immunization rate for 7-year-old children in the province, at about 53%. This superstore was an exposure site in Winkler.
It's disappointing in the fact that, we shouldn't be talking about measles as far as I'm concerned, but it's unfortunate.
Canada's immunization guide says children should get their first dose of a measles vaccine between 12 and 15 months. The province says that advice might change soon. It's considering lowering the age in some areas. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
New numbers from the Winnipeg Police show violent crime and property crime dropped in the city last year. But while the force's annual statistical report shows a decrease in the most serious crimes, there's been a big spike in shoplifting. CBC's Josh Crabb reports.
These customers are going through the checkout with their groceries at Downtown Family Foods. Owner Kashan Zalawadia says while most pay, shoplifting is a big problem.
People are going to come, fill their pockets, run out.
Zalawadia's experience is reflected in new numbers released by the Winnipeg Police Service. Shoplifting was up 41% last year compared to 2023.
So that number went up, and we expected it to go up.
Deputy Chief Cam McKidd says part of the reason numbers are up is because of increased enforcement through the Retail Theft Initiative. While shoplifting increased, total crime in Winnipeg went down. Property crime fell 2.3%. It decreased for the second year in a row. Violent crime dropped slightly, down 1.4% last year. Police say it decreased for the first time in 4 years. Data analyst David Bowman says, more notably, violent crime severity went down by 5%.
Robberies, assaults, homicides factor significantly into that violent crime severity index weighting system. So decreases across those major categories were the main contributors.
One area of concern is cybercrime, which has more than tripled since 2018. That includes violent offenses like uttering threats, extortion, and sextortion.
With the most frequently reported victim age being just 15 years old, underscoring the vulnerability of youth in online spaces.
Police are happy to see the numbers heading in the right direction, but don't see this as a victory. Police Chief Gene Bowers says one of his priorities is reopening district stations to the public.
So we can have the community come to the office and meet police in their area.
Zalawadia has cameras, but he's concerned reporting thefts at his store takes up too much time.
To prevent the theft, yes, sometimes we catch them, but we know whom we can stop. Not everyone, especially when someone is looking threatening.
He understands police are busy, but would like to see faster responses to shoplifting. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Frustrated, overworked, and exhausted. The Paramedics Union says morale is at an all-time low. It says a recent survey found dozens are considering leaving the profession altogether. CBC's Matt Humphrey breaks it down.
Winnipeg paramedics and dispatchers say they are burnt out. In a recent survey, they describe high call volumes and no time between calls.
Unfortunately, it means that people are looking for work elsewhere and looking to leave the profession.
MGEU Local 911 President Ryan Woyden says conditions are the worst he's seen in 25 years as a paramedic, and there's little downtime.
By the time that patient can be transferred to the hospital care, we can often be on another call, unknowingly even, for a few minutes, which adds to, of course, increased mental health stress.
At the beginning of April, 205 members answered a survey about working conditions. 93% said they were exposed to violence while on the job, and 78% reported feeling burnt out due to stress at work. There are 390 paramedics and dispatchers in the union. 287 got the survey because the union had their personal contact information.
I'd like to see mental health supports implemented where paramedics and dispatching crews are able to take breaks after each call just to decompress, and that can just be 15 minutes at times, but we're not even given that.
The fire and paramedic chief acknowledges call volumes and violence have increased, and he says changes to how calls are dispatched were made 2 weeks ago. The chief thinks that'll lead to better working conditions. Matt Humphrey, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Meantime, the Manitoba Nurses Union says they haven't seen enough action from a government that vowed to make healthcare better. The CBC's Ian Fraze reports.
Darlene Jackson showed up at the legislature with hundreds of disgruntled nurses.
If you're serious about healing healthcare, then prove it. Step up and take action now.
A lot of nurses in pink shirts, waving signs and making their voices heard.
Same shift, different day! Same shift, different day!
It's a new slogan from the Manitoba Nurses Union, meant as a reminder nurses are still overworked. That's despite an NDP government that promised in the last election to fix healthcare.
I'm tired of working short-staffed. Safety in the workplace isn't a request, it's a requirement.
What we're finding is the only way we get the government's attention is by actually either shaming them or coming out and being edgy and being very pointed.
Health Minister Uzoma Asaguera was at Wednesday's rally. They say the province hired 600 additional nurses last year.
Our commitment is to continue to listen, take action, and make sure that nurses are heard by us.
One of those areas is nurse-patient ratios. Jackson says nurses want the maximum number of patients they look after to be manageable. And despite the new hires Asaguera is talking about, nurses aren't seeing a difference in workload.
Nurse-patient ratios will help solve our nursing shortage.
Nurses successfully bargained for a committee to study guaranteed staffing levels. The health minister says they're making progress. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers star quarterback will miss the first game of the season after receiving a suspension. The CFL says it's suspending Zach Collaros for not responding to an off-season drug test request. The league says he didn't answer within 24 hours. It adds he's never tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug. Bombers CEO Wade Miller says there was no intent for wrongdoing by Collaros and says he just missed a step in the process. He adds both the league and the CFLPA have since clarified and improved protocols to help ensure this doesn't happen to other players. Let's bring in Riley Lachuk now. And Riley, if anyone's been outside, there is a sea of white in downtown right now. Many hoping for a nighttime of nice weather.
Yeah, we're looking at a pretty pleasant evening tonight, Brittany, now that we've seen the wind. I mean, wind not all that of a factor today, but more of a southerly flow. Bit of a lag in the data here. Downtown Winnipeg at 20 degrees right now. I think we'll continue to see that temperature bump up by another degree or so by the time we get to, say, 7 o'clock this evening. So I don't think we're quite done rising yet. 20s back to the west through Dauphin, Brandon, Melita, 16 in Thompson. So a very, well, for some of us, seasonal day. Above seasonal the further south you went. That's because another ridge of high pressure has built in once again. That's really cleared our skies out today and is going to continue to keep our skies clear as we get through the next several days yet, really province-wide for the most part. 9 degrees overnight in Winnipeg, not as crisp as it was overnight last night into the early morning hours. Yes, a bit of a chilly one this morning. Tonight, not as much. Southeast winds gusting to 30 in the morning. What you'll notice as we get into the day on Thursday is that wind really picking up. 30 gusting 50 in the morning, plus 12 first thing, and we'll keep that wind. 40 gusting 60 by the afternoon. Up to 27 degrees. It gets warmer as we get into next week, but there's a bit of instability coming our way. We'll break that down when I come back.
Okay, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
He loves long walks, he's smart and handsome. Their taglines the Humane Society is hoping will convince Winnipeggers to bring these boys home. Stay with us. There are so many animals looking for loving homes, and often when people think about adding to their families, we hear people say, adopt, don't shop, urging people to adopt a pet from a shelter instead of buying one from breeders or other places. Well, now the Winnipeg Humane Society has come up with a new campaign in an effort to find homes for some of their long-term shelter dogs. Daphne He is the manager of adoptions at the Humane Society and joins me now. Hi, Daphne.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. I want to start with this new campaign and what it's all about. So maybe you can explain that to us.
Yeah, our team has set up, our communication team have assist adoption department to set up 38 billboards around the city of Winnipeg. And the idea behind this is to create more accessibility and promotion for our long-term dogs so that they can get as much exposure as they can in order to reach the potential adopters. We have tried traditional methods through social medias, but our dogs are still waiting. So we're hoping through this, new creative idea, we will be able to reach different audience and therefore helping them find new homes.
Daphne, tell us about the 4 that are being featured, what they're like and how long they've been with you.
Yeah, and in overall, all these 4 dogs has been with us for over 150 days. Some of them goes as high as long as 1 year. Benny Blanco, for example, has been with us for a year, and he just celebrated his birthday with us on April 29th. So for Benny Blanco, he's a very high energy, active dog who's extremely intelligent. And we have also Rambo, who is a very goofy, cuddly dog. He is very human oriented. He loves bonding and getting pets from people. And we have Colt, who's also a very smart guy who really likes to cuddle and get wrapped up in the blanket. And then lastly, we have, who else? Dale. Dale is also a very goofy guy who is, just very treat motivated, love to be with the people and create some strong bonding with, people that he's familiar with. So all these dogs, due to the stress, they are struggling a little bit in the shelter, but we're hoping to encourage potential adopter to consider, how their behavior would be like outside of the shelter, because we do have those information and we're really eager to share them with any kind of adopters who's interested.
Yeah, 1 year seems like a really long time. So what is the average time it takes for getting some of these dogs adopted, and why are some of them there for so long?
On average for dogs, it can be 2 weeks to a month. For certain dogs, like the 4 we have, can go up to over 150 days. Mostly it's because, people only see one side of them, which is the side we see in the shelter. But they couldn't really see what they would be like in a home. If we take Colt for an example, I actually have some pictures ready for you here. Colt can seem, reactive and really high energy in the shelter. But not long ago, we were able to send him to a staycation in the foster home. And this is the picture we received. He just liked to be wrapped up in a blanket. So we're hoping the adopters, any kind of potential adopters, is willing to give us that opportunity to discuss more about this animal.
Earlier this year, we spoke with the Humane Society about spending much of last year really in crisis mode after a string of dog seizures, stopping you from being able to take in more. So where do things sit at now? How are we doing?
We are doing our best right now. We're still full of dogs and really trying to, get things moving. We often tell adopters when you adopt one animal, you're actually opening up the space for another one. When we have dogs like this 4, Rambo, Colt, Benny, Blanco, and Dale, when they stay really long in our shelter, it's preventing us from helping more. So that's why we're focusing so much resource in helping animals find home. This is a good way to help us manage our capacity and help more animals.
Well, we hope that they get adopted soon. Daphne, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much.
It's game day. The Winnipeg Jets will face off against the Dallas Stars in the first of their best-of-7 second-round series. Mark Scheifele's health remains a key factor. He was on the ice this morning for practice and back in a regular jersey, along with Josh Morrissey and Logan Stanley out there as well. All three were out at the end of the last series, and while the head coach won't confirm if any will be back in the lineup tonight, Scott Arniel says the team is leaving the last series behind them.
We've talked about it all year, next opponent, next game. And this is going to be just as difficult, or if not, tougher.
Meantime, the Stars have also been without one of their top players. It's unclear if Jason Robertson will be back in tonight either. Puck drop is 8:30. Well, both teams coming off some big game sevens, but go Jets go. We got to go with the home team.
Exactly. That game on CBC television tonight, too.
Yes, tonight, 8:30 puck drop. Lots of people already heading out towards the whiteout party, which gets underway in about 10 minutes here.
Yep.
And many probably going to be donning a T-shirt for some of the night.
Yeah, it's going to be a pleasant evening, a very nice night to watch some hockey on a patio outdoors someplace.
Right?
Yeah.
We like it.
We are looking at a very windy day tomorrow, and we're going to start with that because this is elevating our fire risk. Not only is it very hot and dry, but any little spark with the wind that we're expecting tomorrow is really going to lead likely to a worsening of that grass fire situation. So another day that we want to particularly tomorrow, be very fire smart because fire risk tomorrow forecast by Natural Resources Canada at extreme for much of western Manitoba through the Red River Valley, high into the Interlake. It does go lower the further north you go, but yes, anywhere in the yellow, the red, make sure you're being fire smart as we get through the day on Thursday because we are looking at a very windy one and another very dry day as well. So you can kind of see where the jet stream cuts across the north here. Along with that, another low pressure system coming as we get through the day on Thursday. So Thursday itself, mainly sunny for southern Manitoba, but as this area of low pressure tracks across the north, it drags a cold front down along with it, and this will temporarily pull temperatures back into Friday, back to more seasonal conditions, but also along this, as we get some of that warm air meeting some of this colder air, the potential for some thunderstorms as we get Thursday overnight into Friday morning. I'm not talking about anything severe per se, but we could get into a situation where we do get some lightning as we get overnight into the morning on Friday. Friday, back to a mainly sunny sky, bit of cloud hanging around, and this sets us up for a mix of sun and clouds as we head through the weekend once again. But the story as we get into the day on Thursday, definitely looking to be the wind. I've started this at 6 o'clock in the morning. You can see even first thing in the morning, gusts up to 50 or 60 kilometers an hour through the south, even looking at some gusts potentially 70, 80 plus along the Hudson Bay coast. So a very windy one to come tomorrow. Even back to the west, looking at winds gusting up to 50 or 60 through the afternoon. So that's why I say that fire risk heightened because of the wind that we're expecting throughout the day tomorrow. So keep that in mind as we head through Thursday. Winds do start to die off into Friday, but a windy one ahead as we get into the morning hours on Friday in particular as well. Overnight temperatures, 10 in Dauphin tonight, 7 in Brandon, 8s and 9s into the Red River Valley. Pretty seasonal overnight temperatures. And then the potential to get to 30 once again tomorrow into Westman, Brandon, and Dauphin. Winnipeg, I've got us at 27 degrees on Thursday. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, it was another pleasant spring day today. We have more to come right after this. Stay with us. Winnipeg is poised to approve a memorial to the victims of Ukrainian Airlines flight PS 752. The plane was shot down by Iran on January 8, 2020. The date now the National Day of Remembrance for Victims of Air Disasters. 8 Manitobans were among the dead. The marker is slated for Scurfield Park in White Ridge, and it will tell the story of the flight and will have the names of the victims engraved on the wall. One of the victims was a student at a nearby school. Well, you may not have been bitten yet, and the city of Winnipeg is trying to keep it that way. Crews are already at work larviciding. The city says the most effective way to control the mosquito population is by targeting larvae before they emerge as adult biters. Now, the city says it will use what it calls an environmentally mindful strategy. Anyone who doesn't want it near their home can apply for a buffer zone.
All right, let's do the dog walking forecast, and I have what I hope is a bit of a good luck charm from our producer, Holly Carrick. Nash and Toby dressed in their Jets gear just in time for the game. So hopefully that's a good luck charm heading into game 1 of this series this evening. Up to 27 degrees tomorrow afternoon, but yes, a very windy one. South winds 40 gusting to 60. We'll keep the wind as we head into the morning on Friday at 19 degrees. So that cold front pushing things down a little bit with the risk of some thunderstorms overnight into Friday morning. Back up to 24 for Saturday, 30 degrees for Sunday. Chance we could see some showers early into Monday morning. And yes, we're still keeping that 33-degree high on the way for Tuesday. Very, very hot. In every community, there are certain events that signal summer is just around the corner. Here, probably the mosquitoes.
But in Dawson City, Yukon, there's only one that gets people of all ages equally excited. Here's your daily lift. Well, many of the town's popular establishments are now open for the season, but none more popular than the town's ice cream shop.
On any kind of beautiful, hot, sunny day, this is the place to be.
Kind of like the world's your oyster. You still don't know you got lots of days ahead of you. The hardest day is the last day of the year when you know you're not going to have ice cream for another 7 months.
According to the store's owner, it's been nonstop, and they've already scooped easily hundreds of cones.
I think there's going to be some Winnipeggers flocking to some of those stores this weekend and into early next week.
Get me a chocolate dip.
Right? No, got to go vanilla for the whiteout. There we go.
That's true. Okay, good point. You make a good point on that one.
That game coming up, 8:30 tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Have a good one.